Okay, let me start again. I'm still doing the live with Pete and invite. Having some technical issues and hopefully it'll sort it out soon. Okay, add. You can't really.
Hey, I'm back.
Hey, yeah, it's just.
I've got no idea what happened.
I have no idea. It's just like gone.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
idea.
Right, so to answer
Yes.
your original question, you were asking about kind of how I started on the personal development path.
Yes.
So it's quite an interesting story. When I was in the Air Force, I injured my knee when I was running. So I started to see a physiotherapist. And at the time, I was actually quite mentally unwell. So when I was speaking to this physiotherapist, I was kind of just quite manic and ranting and crazy and, all like this. And he kind of just stopped me and he said, you really need to read a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
All right.
And I said, okay, yeah, whatever. And then I just carried on. And I completely ignored him, but I did write it down on the phone. Well, anyway, when I was receiving this treatment, I kind of thought to myself, I'm going to listen to an audiobook. I've never listened to one, so I'm going to give it a blast. I kind of got this memory of this man telling me about this book, and I thought, okay, it came highly recommended, so let's give it a blast. And it completely changed my life. And it was that book that really told me that, your thoughts and your actions have a direct consequence on your life. And not only that, but you can change your life through your thoughts and actions. And this the concept to me now is completely normal, but back then it was completely new because I'd spent so many years blaming everybody else and what had happened to me and all this for what was going on. And yes, what happened to me was awful, but that didn't mean that I was no longer in control of my life. And it took reading this book to realize that. And I found the concepts, kind of different habits and like interpersonal skills and there's so many things, all these different topics. And I started to research all of these topics individually. And also became obsessed with the concept of success. What does success mean? What does it look like? How do you become successful? And it just blew up, and I became a little bit obsessed by this whole thing. And yeah, it really that's where everything spawned from, and it's just grown since then.
Yeah, that's great book, isn't it? Like sold like how many millions copies and what? So just based on what you told me, what's your version of success?
Oh wow, so that's such a big question. So I believe that everybody has their own version of success, and it can look completely different. It's never wrong. It's always right for that person.
Yes.
For me, success, the very foundation of success for me is happiness. I believe that success cannot exist without happiness, and that's happiness in your own skin, with yourself, in your own body. It doesn't have to mean, I feel great every day, because I don't. I'm human. But it's, even if I have a bad day, I'm still happy in my own skin. Also, family to me, being able to care for my family is huge. I've got a beautiful wife and a very, very cute dog. And being able to care for them both financially and emotionally and physically is so important to me. And coming home from work every day and knowing that I've done something to benefit my family. On that note as well, helping people is so important to me. Being able to make a difference in someone's life, and there is nothing more rewarding than when I have one of my clients or someone say to me, what you said to me today really rang a bell, and because of that, I'm going to take action. I'm going to change these things. And for me, that's really the best feeling ever.
Yeah. And sometimes sometimes they also tell you, probably, that's what I just needed today.
Yes, yeah. I think something I hear a lot of is I'll say something which to me seems very routine, but they'll go, I never thought of it like that. And it just opens this door for them, which was, you know, the same for me in this book. I think the fourth element to my success is, and it's very important to me, is freedom, and that's both financial freedom, you know, having the money to have nice things and to pay the bills without worrying, and you know, to treat my family to nice things, but also time freedom. You know, if I want to take Wednesday off and I don't know, go for a massage or go for a swim, I can do that.
Yeah.
And for me, that's really important to be able to do that. So yeah, for me, that is my success.
Wow, that's great. That's great version. Yeah, I love it. So, is there anything like what's the most important thing I should know about you? Because I know you are a consultant and you're specializing with mental health. And could you tell us about the mental health issues that you specialize in?
Yeah,
are you targeting specific groups, or or is it like wide range?
I think for me, I do a lot of work generally in mental health, but I do a lot of work as well with men and mental health, because although the conversation around men's mental health is improving, it's still got a long way to go, and you still find a lot of men just don't talk. And you know, I know men who are really going through a very hard time, they're really suffering, but they just say, "I'm not a talker. I don't talk about that stuff." And that's crucial. That's key, because without talking about it, you can't understand it. Without understanding it, you can't put a plan in place for recovery. Without that plan, there's no recovery. So it's, you know, talking so vital, and that's why I'm so vocal with about men and men's mental health. But for me, it's the most important thing is that I'm so passionate about mental health and the stigma around it. And I believe that mental health should be as normal as regular health. You know, for me, it's like I said before about success. It's really about helping people. It's about making that difference. And I really want to create a movement around mental health where it just becomes the norm. And so people can walk into work and say to the boss, I'm having a really hard time today. I'm not feeling myself. You know, can we, you know, arrange something, you know, so we can improve that? And people to have the confidence and the freedom to say that is absolutely crucial to me.
Yeah, because what's that? So it's like if you are not feeling not very well, and then because at work, like got bad stomach, and you can go home or you're coughing, but for mental health, there is no such indication. It's just all this stress and depression. No one could see it from outside, because nowadays people mask it a lot.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it is people feel ashamed, or people feel embarrassed, or people feel like they're going to be judged. And like you say, you know, I want it to be as easy as saying to your boss, I've got a poorly stomach. I need some time away. Because you know, mental health is as common as stomach bugs and you know, whatever else. But because it's not spoken about, people don't see it. But once you're in that world of mental health, people do start to open up to you, and that's when your eyes really open and you realize just how prevalent and how much of a crisis mental health is in society now.
Yeah, and then especially because when you said you are really into men's mental health, and I'm thinking because men tend to be seen the strong character, and therefore they just try to cover everything all and then being that alpha male.
Yeah, and I think that's that whole alpha male thing really needs to go away, and it needs to go away now, because there's no requirement for men to be alpha males anymore. No, that requirement disappeared thousands of years ago. And it's that kind of mentality, the whole alpha male mentality, which is so damaging, because you know, a lot of men feel like they have to be the strong one, and they can't be seen to be weak, or they can't be seen to be ill. And you know, mental health isn't being weak. And if anything, speaking about it is being strong, and it's standing up and taking charge and saying, I'm not well, however, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to get the help I deserve. And that's what's key. And that's why the whole alpha male side of it just needs to disappear. And that's what I'm kind of fighting against.
Okay, so what's the plan? What are you doing? Have you got groups or? Yeah.
So yeah, I can't speak. Sorry, I do help run a couple of men's mental health support groups on Facebook. They aren't actually my groups. I help out with them. And I think the big plan is a company that we're just starting. Me and my business partner Mick, and it's called Paradigm Consulting, and it's called Paradigm because we want to create a paradigm shift in mental health.
Okay.
So our plan really is to start working with businesses in the corporate world to raise mental health awareness, not just raise awareness, but to normalize mental health, like I spoke about before, and also to provide training to the managers and also the staff. Everybody from the cleaner up to the CEO, in how to recognize the signs, what to do if you notice issues in yourself, what to do if you notice issues in somebody else. How can you look after yourself? How can you look after each other? And also, importantly, what to do in a crisis, because it does happen where people really don't see any other way out than to end their life. And if they feel able to talk to somebody about that person needs to feel comfortable and able to be able to handle the situation and provide the support that person needs. Because I think a lot of people in that scenario would probably freeze up, or maybe say completely the wrong thing, and also they'd be scared of saying the wrong thing. So it's about opening that conversation up and putting kind of a plan, as much as you can plan that in place, to deal with a situation like that.
Yeah, because and then there are lots of awareness programs going on, isn't it? It's like Mental Health Awareness Week, Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's like being aware doesn't solve anything.
Exactly. Awareness is only part of the solution. You can be aware of a lot of things, but that doesn't necessarily solve it. Mental health can be cured. So awareness isn't just going to cure it. So I feel like that's where Paradigm is different to a lot of companies and charities and kind of initiatives like Mental Health Awareness Month, where we don't talk about awareness, we actually talk about tools and methods and actual practicable ways to help yourself, help other people, actually prepare people for mental health, to give them the toolkit. Something I talk a lot about with the guys, with my coaching clients and with the guys I support, is making a mental health toolkit. Things you can do to look after yourself if you notice that your happiness and your health is starting to deteriorate. So yeah, I feel like that's where we're different to that stuff, is we actually give tools to address the situation, not just awareness.
So whereabout are you based, Pete? Because obviously you won't be straight like out for whole UK. You probably start local and then eventually you'll spread out what you're trying to do. Is that right?
So I'm currently based in Shropshire, near Telford Wolves. So yeah, the plan is to start fairly local, and then maybe over time, if things go well, which I hope they will do, we can spread out and really have a national impact, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, and sorry, just me being a female, I am really intrigued, because when you talk about when you have a group of men talking about mental health issues, can people open up for real, or is it just about that football and then just being that like the man jokes?
No,
or do they really go open and share and then solve each other's problems and help support?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think once the guys recognise that it is genuinely a safe place and they're not going to be judged or they're not going to be mocked, guys really do open up. And you find a lot of the time, just by them opening up, they may not even receive anything back, or well, they will, but initially they may not receive anything back. But just by opening up, it helps them so much because they're able to verbalize what's been going on for them, and that's what they've been hiding away for so long. And when you hide it away, it gives it more power. It gives it, it just gives them more power over you. So yeah, the guys do open up, and then what you tend to find is other guys will join in and say, actually, yeah, I feel the same way. And again, by somebody saying, yeah, I've had the same stuff, that's powerful because that means you're not alone. So yeah, it's I think you'd be surprised how much guys do open up once they actually realize that it is a safe environment for them to do so.
Because when you don't talk to somebody else, it feels you just suffering that just by yourself, and this problem just belongs to you. But when you open up and then talk to other people, everyone's got the same, not exactly same, but similar issues, and that makes you feel better, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a really powerful thing when you're not mentally well. Is you can often think I'm the only one suffering like this. My illness is somehow different to other people, and I did that a lot. I thought I was completely incurable. I thought I was going to be that way forever. And that's what led me on a few occasions to consider taking my own life, because I thought, I can never be fixed. I will always be suffering. Somehow my illness is different, therefore it's hopeless. And when people say, I've felt the same way, and certainly if they say I felt the same way and I overcame it, that hopelessness becomes hope. Hope, recovery, and that in itself is also really, really powerful.
Yeah, because when you just mentioned about suicide, and on the news and places, when you hear different bad news, it's usually men. I've never, not really never, there'll probably be like occasions, but like man is more likely to take their own life. Is that right? And it's all about mental health issue.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, obviously, there are female suicides, but I think it's much more prevalent in men. I can't remember the stats now, but it's something like 70% of suicides are male. I could be wrong in that. I wouldn't quote me. But also, I can't say this word. Statistically speaking, the way men will try to do it tends to be more effective. It seems like a horrible thing to say, but if we're talking real facts here, this is the truth. So if a man's going to try, he tends to be more successful with it, which is tragic, but also true. So that's why, or part of the reason why it's more prevalent with men as well. But also it is just the whole stigma around men's mental health, which tends to make men feel alone. And all the reasons I spoke about a few minutes ago, which is the driving force behind that, high suicide rate.
Yeah. So this area, man's mental health and supporting them, helping them to be better, is your mission for life. Have you got any other? Are you covering any other areas, or because I can totally feel your passion towards it, and when you speak, but that's your main area, is that right?
So I'd say my main area is mental health in general, because Paradigm isn't just about men; it's about mental health, men and women. A lot of the work I do online on social media is around men's mental health, but certainly my career and my life goal is bigger than just men's mental health. It's mental health in general, because I know females who are suffering but don't feel like they can speak up. And for me, it's just anybody who is in that place of suffering and hopelessness, and where your mind is just beating you up and torturing you. They're the people that I want to help, and they're the people that I want to get the message across to, that no matter how bad things get, it will get better. It's not a case of it can get better; it will get better. Like suffering is temporary; it will pass. I can't tell you when, but it will. And for me, that's really the core message, because once people understand that and appreciate that, that's when lives are getting saved.
Exactly. Nothing's permanent. Nothing
No,
is.
it really isn't. No.
Yeah. So, what absolutely excites you right now?
I think this the new business paradigm. So we're launching in October, and
July
I'm
now,
really
yeah.
excited about that. So me and my business partner Mick are working very hard to get things off the ground. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to get everything ready, and that really is a massive driving factor for us right now. In terms of what else excites me, just it sounds like such a cliche, such a trite thing to say, but life excites me because every single day I set myself, targets of things to achieve. And when I achieve them every day, I feel good for achieving them. So then I'm excited the next day to achieve the next target. So it's such a really corny, coachy thing to say, but yeah, it really is. I'm just excited about life in general and obviously the business.
Yeah, of course. So when you said like you're achieving and ticking everything from your to-do list, what do you do? What other people don't do?
So a big part of what I do is every morning I do what's called setting my intentions. So I grab a pen and notepad and I make sure that it is on paper. I don't. It's not nearly as powerful writing it on your phone or a computer. And I write what emotions I want to feel that day. So that automatically preempts you, gives you a much better chance to actually feel those emotions because you've named them, you've identified how you want to feel, and then digitally your brain will kick in and think, okay, what do I need to do to make this happen? I also name something that I can get excited about. That's going to happen today. So this morning it was doing this podcast. I also will list 2 or 3 goals that I want to achieve that day. Just small little goals, nothing big, but something that will get me closer to whatever my goal, target, objective is. And that evolves every day. And then I'll kind of think in my head and I'll write down, okay, what do I need to do to make that happen? So I've got a goal and I've got a plan and I've obviously got the motivation behind it. So yeah, I do that every morning when I wake up. And I think that is, people talk about the secret to success, which I don't believe is a thing. But if there was a secret to success, I really believe that would be it. Is to start your mornings as if they were on purpose.
Yes.
And that is life changing once you actually start doing that.
How long have you been doing that?
Wow. I think it's kind of evolved over time. So in terms of those intentions, how I've just named them, not long, only a couple of weeks. However, actually, getting up in the morning and saying, right, this morning I'm going to do this. This morning, this is my target for the day. I'd say maybe about 2 years now.
Oh wow!
Because it was 2017 when I really kind of began to recover from my illness. And it took me a little bit after that to actually take control of my life. So, I did kind of course through life. I kind of just let life happen to me for a little bit. So yeah, but I'd say about 2 years. But in that time, everything has changed in my life.
I bet. Yeah.
Because I've taken these steps. And yeah, so 2 years isn't a long time to transform a life, and it's amazing. It's brilliant.
Oh, sounds absolutely amazing. Can I just ask, because you said you write down how do you want to feel that day, and I'm sure there are thousands of amazing feelings that you want to feel on that day. So what's the best word? Because you want to feel amazing. Okay, that's like everyone says amazing, absolutely amazing, awesome. So what's the highest? That's just in the vocabulary wise. And what's the least amazing? Like just okay. I want to feel happy, and that's all. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think to me, the most powerful word I use, and this is almost this is I'll start again. This is in my intentions almost every single day. This word is to feel present. Now, to feel present is such a coachy term, but to be present means to be in the moment, to be focused on the here and the now, not focused on what happened or what could happen. And it's to be present in yourself, and if you're speaking to somebody, to be present for them, to really be listening to them. And the least powerful, I'd say, to be passive, which is the complete opposite of present. So, to be passive, you just, life's floating you by, things happen to you, and you don't react. And I think that for me, that's the worst possible state to be in, because you're not in control of your life if you're passive.
Yeah, I love being a present. That's because no one, I don't know, probably people does, but I've never heard someone saying they want their daily intention being present. That sounds much better than it being awesome day.
Yeah,
Just say, I'll be present. Just say, I'll be present.
Yeah, I think being awesome or being fantastic, it's a bit flaky. It's a bit, well, what does that actually mean? Because let's face it, we don't all go through our day going woohoo, yeah. It just doesn't happen. So to actually, I identify something like so things like calm, present, at peace, relaxed, at ease, stuff like that. They kind of like conjure a state. You can actually picture being relaxed and being calm.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's quite important.
So just because your intention is probably because I really like being present, that word being present, and because you put that as your intention quite a lot, I assume. Are you into meditations and stuff?
So I don't do meditation, but I do mindfulness, which is very similar. So I have tried meditation, but as a consequence of my PTSD, my head is constantly on the go, constantly spinning. And I find it very hard to quiet my head for long periods of time. And I kind of tend to find it ends up being a bit of a battle. So when I'm meditating, I find that I'm focusing more on this battle than I am on being, kind of the present calm state. So I do kind of 10-minute mindfulness, just very short breathing exercises. And I don't pick a time of day. I do it whenever I feel like I need to do it. So that might be 2 times a day. It might be 12 times a day. So something might have happened that annoyed me, or I might be going from one situation where I'm in one state to a situation where I need to be in the complete opposite state. So, for example, if I've just driven my car, somebody's, I don't know, cut me up or nearly crashed into me, and I'm stressed and I'm wound up and I'm tense and I'm angry, and I need to go into a state where I'm walking into a meeting where I need to be calm, or I'm going to be coaching a client where I've got to be really present, then I'll do some mindfulness then to bring myself back down again, and then calm, and then I can go at it. Because if I don't do that, I'll be sitting in a coaching session going, yeah, what now? Go on, what? Yeah, what now? Which doesn't really work as a coach.
Yeah. Yeah. And Linda says being present is the best present for others.
So I love that. Fantastic.
Yeah. How amazing is that? So, yeah, mindfulness and meditation, and it's a part of your daily routine and your personal development journey, isn't it? So what book influenced you the most in your personal development journey? Because there are thousands of books and it's easy to read and just finished, but which book made you read it and sit down and apply every single thing in your life?
I think there's kind of 2 books here. So the first one is obviously 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think I've read it 4, maybe 5 times now. And the reason I've read it is because it's impossible to apply everything in that book after reading it once or twice. There's so much to it. And to try and do it, you're quite likely to fail because you're just trying to change every aspect of your life at once, and it just doesn't work like that. But like I said before, that really started me on my journey. The other book, and this is blatant self-promotion, is the book I wrote. So From the Bottom of the Barrel, and I've just happened to have a copy of it here.
Of course. You bought it, haven't you?
But the reason I mentioned that book,
let's have a look. Show us. Oh, and is that you inside?
Yeah, that's me, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the reason that book was a big influence on me is because I've written about my story with PTSD and depression and mental health, and how things got really bad, as in I was at the bottom of the barrel. But in writing that book, I found it was really difficult, because I had to relive those times of my life that caused these issues originally. And also, I found it very, very therapeutic. And it kind of allowed me to ask myself questions that I hadn't asked myself before, to challenge thoughts and beliefs and all this kind of thing. So for me, it was a massive journey writing that book. And I became a little bit addicted to writing it. When I first set about writing it, I would do, a couple of pages once a week, something like that. And I was quite happy doing it slowly. And then the further I got into it, I was doing it every day. I was doing like chapter and all this. And because I was just really enjoying going on that journey so much, I hit a point about halfway through where in the book, if anybody's watching who's read it, things get really, really dark, and I had to take a step back for 2 weeks just to look after myself, because if I had kept going, it would have started affecting my mental health again.
I see, because you were just like into it and you were living the book, living what you were writing.
So because what I was writing about is kind of trauma related, it's important to allow yourself to relive that trauma again. What happened to me still happened, and yes, it's awful. But I don't want to give it power over me anymore. But if you get too deep into something like that, you can start to give it power. You can start to take things over. Aside from kind of shameless self-promotion, it did have a huge impact on my development. And I do get people now messaging me saying, I've finished a book and it helped me, because of this, and this. I had a message recently off a gentleman who said, I never really understood what was going on in my head, and I never really spoke to anybody about it. But reading what you wrote, I really resonated with me, and I feel now I can start to get the help I need. And for me, that's just perfect, absolutely perfect. It's just so powerful to me.
That's amazing, and I'm sure there will be more books to come.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I've been asked a few times now when my next book's coming out. The honest answer is that I don't know.
From your readers.
Sorry, say again.
Was it from your readers or from your publishing house? Or?
So it's from my readers, yeah. So
I think
I've kind of written. Sorry, say again.
Sorry, Mark Hickey.
He
says it's a brilliant book and love heart.
Cheers, mate. So I've kind of half written a kids' mental health book, but that's kind of a work in progress, and I've no idea when that's going to be published. So yeah, that's been going on for a few years now. That book, I keep kind of adding to it every now and then. But in terms of the next book, I'm not sure when that's going to be going to happen. It will happen, I'm sure, but I don't know when.
So yeah, I'm sure there will be probably not one.
Who knows?
Yeah, Kelly White says you are such an inspiration.
That's my wife.
Oh, of course. Yeah. So if I ask you, Pete, if you could do anything you wanted tonight, um, any to be anywhere or for any amount of money, what would you do and why? You got freedom, like to be with someone and like or someone who inspire you a lot, or
Yeah.
or with your family. It's like it's your choice.
You know what? I think for me, what would be perfect would if it could be me, my wife, and my dog, and we could sit down for lunch with Stephen Fry because I love Stephen Fry. I think he's fantastic. And just spend the night together, just chatting and just being present with each other. And yeah, I think for me that would be perfect, and to have no kind of expectations or time restrictions or kind of diary to keep to. But yeah, just kind of the four of us would be fantastic. Plus Meg. So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds amazing because we are all just so busy, and then even like when we're together, it's just it's hard to be present because lots of things going on. Kids. Yeah, that's a really good one. And Linda says she's so interested in kids' mental health. So you have to do it.
There's my incentive right there. Yeah, I will get to work on it as soon as I've got some spare time, which I'm not sure when that'll be. I'll get to work on it.
Yeah. So what's something that no one would guess about you?
I think probably and it sounds a bit odd. I actually enjoy doing housework, and I know my wife might disagree with this, but when I actually get around to doing it, I actually find it quite therapeutic. I find it quite calming because, again, this is how my head works. I've got a task. I've got a mission, and I need to achieve it. And I like to just what I tend to do is I'll set my phone timer to 15 minutes, and I will do as much housework as I can in 15 minutes. Because I'm make a little challenge. That sounds really weird to say, but at the same time, I find it quite relaxing because it gets the house clean, which is nice. It's also a quick achievement, which makes you feel good about yourself. And yeah, something about housework is just kind of therapeutic to me. Not so much ironing. I don't do much ironing these days after the forces. But yeah, just housework. I do like it.
So let's say like 15 minutes you do like certain tasks, and the next time when you set 15 minutes, would you try to overdo what you've done in previous 15 minutes?
Yeah,
just like this.
The thing is, it's quite difficult to measure housework, isn't it? So because you can walk into the kitchen one day and it'll be a bit of a mess. Walk into the kitchen next day and it'll be a total tip. And obviously 15 minutes then goes different ways. But yeah, for me, it's just about kind of setting myself a little challenge and getting through as much as I can in that time.
Excellent. So my husband's same. He just loves the DIY and stuff. Not into cleaning, but when like DIY stuff, he gets excited and he loves it.
Yeah.
And look at the outcome and just very proud. Yeah. Yeah. Who's your all-time inspiration?
All-time
people who do you follow? Did you just say you are Stephen Fry fan?
Yeah, I'd say I've kind of got two. So the Stephen Fry. So obviously we know he's a very, very, very funny, very smart, very very talented man. And I think it's quite well known that he suffers quite badly with bipolar disorder. And he's kind of, he's really been to the bottom. He's been to some very dark places, and he's managed to not only have a very successful career, but also he's used his experiences to help other people, and he's very vocal about mental health. The other person is a gentleman called Chris Gardner, And if you've ever seen a movie called The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, Will Smith plays Chris Gardner.
Oh, right.
So if you get a chance to read the book as well, written by Chris, it's called The Pursuit of Happiness. And again, because his is a genuine rags to riches story. You know, there was months. I think that the movie only shows one night, but there was actually months and months where he was homeless. You know, he was literally living on the street with his little boy, and he basically took charge of his life, took action, changed his life, and the guy sold his. He went into finance. He sold his company for many millions. He now travels the world, speaking to people, helping people, lives a life of freedom. So yeah, I think I've got a lot of time for Chris Gardner, and he's somebody I look to as kind of a bit of a role model. I'm always a bit hesitant about saying role model, but yeah, you know, I've got serious respect for him.
Yeah, because imagine if you've been on the street and then achieved so much, that's true inspiration, isn't it?
Yeah,
but then, Pete, I always wonder, there is like that click moment, isn't it, all the time? But why do people need to go rock bottom or just something really bad to happen until they make that decision and then go up? Why just in a normal, when in an everyday life, you realize I could do better and then go up? And that's like all about that paradigm shift. But just why do we need to be that rock bottom to make that life-changing decisions? What's your opinion about it?
There's a quote, and for the life of me, I can't remember who said it now. But it's that when you're lying in the gutter, all you can do is lie and stare up at the stars. So in other words, or you know, if you're going to take my book for example, if you're at the bottom of the barrel, you can only look at the top. So the only place you can go is up. And I think also there's something kind of clicks in the brain when you've been to the bottom, and you kind of say, I'm never going to allow myself to go there again. And you do everything in your power to make that happen. So yeah, I think it's a really powerful thing. For me, in a way, I was quite lucky because there's a phenomenon that can come with PTSD, and it's called post-trauma growth or post-trauma development. And it's a fairly unknown phenomenon, but what happens is, as a consequence of PTSD, a little kind of gear switches in your brain, and you're very prone then to the world of growth and development, and you know that kind of thing. And I think that's really what happened with me. But also, yeah, because I'd been to the bottom, I was very close to ending my life. At one point, I did try and run a man over in my car because I was so ill, my head said that this man was a terrorist. Totally false, And I think when you've been there and you think, I'm not proud of who I am, I don't like who I am, you then start to think, well, who do I want to be? And what am I willing to do to live the life that I deserve and I want to live? And once you develop that mindset, it completely changes things, and it becomes easy. No, I wouldn't say easy. It becomes much easier to turn your life around and create the life that you want to live.
Yeah, because everything's in your hand. It's how you want to live. It's like all on you, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I always say to my clients, your life is your responsibility. Yeah. Simple. And for a lot of people, that's a very difficult pill to swallow, because we all, many people like to put that responsibility or sometimes blame on somebody else because that's easier.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's not going to achieve anything. So once you really, appreciate and grasp that you're responsible for your own life and how your life turns out is really up to you, it changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly true. So it's like we've got about 10 minutes left. So if I ask, what do you wish someone would ask you?
What does somebody ask me? So
Mm.
normally I'd say what my version of success is, but
Oh,
we've not
I've
spoken
already
about
asked that.
that. I wish somebody would ask me. Honestly, I'm not sure. I think for me, I don't want people to. No, it's not necessarily I want somebody to ask me something. I want somebody to tell me all about them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably comes from me being a coach. But I want to
Uh-huh.
learn all about a person.
Uh-huh.
What drives them, what their vision is, what their goal
Uh-huh.
is. Issues and problems and whatever and the life that they've had. Um, so yeah, I think that's really what I'd prefer to speak to somebody about is about them rather than about me. Although I've just spent the last 50 minutes talking about me.
It's all about you. And what's the big dream? Like a big dream. It's not like what's your 5 years. Well,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not 5, it's not 10. What's the big dream?
The big dream is to fulfill all those um, elements of my success. But really, it's about being around my family, and it's about having the freedom. So I kind of picture myself in many years' time, living in like a log cabin in a forest, maybe with my
Mm-hmm.
wife and my dog, um, and just having the freedom to say, you know what, let's go on holiday tomorrow. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, and I think alongside that, I'd say just as important is to help people, because that's what really gives me my kicks, is to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sounds very trite, but it's true, and that's what really drives me doing what I'm doing now, and working many hours of the day,
Yeah,
because it's to help people to change their lives and turn their lives around, no matter what they've come from.
sounds amazing. It's absolutely beautiful dream. So, like, probably it's going to be my last question.
Yep.
And what role would you like to play in a movie, and why?
See, I'm gonna almost go against everything I've just said here. I really want to play the bad guy in an action movie, because I think it would just be so much fun just to be able to do all those things that aren't socially acceptable or aren't
Uh-huh.
legal even. Um,
Is that called
and,
being you?
yeah, and I think it'd be quite a release, because I spend all my time helping people and being hopefully nice. I hope I'm nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh.
and to have that little release where you just say, okay, let's be the bad guy, but without any consequences. I'm not
Yes.
actually going to harm
Uh-huh.
anybody. I'm not going to
Just
end up in
cheeky.
prison.
Being a
Yeah,
cheeky. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So, what's the if you name the movie, like you probably watch, I don't know if you watch lots of movies, but then give me the movie name and who are you on that film?
Wow. I think to pick a movie that exists, something like the I can't say it, Expendables, um, where the bad guy's just so over the top and um, so kind of unrealistic that it's funny.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, I would kind of be a bad guy in that movie, I think.
Wow, that's great. Thanks so much. Have you watched that film called, it's probably a very popular movie, is it Limitless?
I love Limitless. I actually wrote a blog post on our website about Limitless.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, it's genuinely one of my favorite movies.
Uh-huh. Imagine being like that. I would take a pill for that.
It'd be nice, yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Pete. It is absolutely amazing to have you tonight
It,
with
it,
me
it,
in
it,
an
it, it,
I'mPossible conversation.
yeah.
And if you could please give us your website and your blog details and maybe paradigm. It's paradigm shift, is it? No, it's paradigm.
So the website for Paradigm is paradigmconsulting.co.uk.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
My coaching is Imperium Life Coaching, so
Mm-hmm.
IMPERIUM lifecoaching.co.uk.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, yeah, feel free to get and have a browse, drop me a message. Yeah.
Yeah, because you mentioned that paradigm doesn't spell like paradigm, so it's probably
So,
better
yeah,
to add it on a comment.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's important. I will spell it out in a comment, but yeah, it's PARADYME. Purely because
Yeah.
when we bought the domain name, the right way of spelling it was taken, so we had to take that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a popular one, I bet. Okay,
yeah.
thanks very much, everyone who joined us, and thank you very much, Pete. And
Thank you.
I'll catch up you guys on Wednesday next week, and I'll speak to you later, Pete.
Thanks, Ban out.
Thank you. Bye.